There are two words that when put together always end in disaster. Those words are of course Kickstarter and MMO, which is technically an acronym, but the point still stands. Me just uttering the phrase Kickstarter MMO will draw out a whole range of emotions such as hope, nostalgia, and of course, where the f is my money?
Where's the fucking money, shithead?
It's not exactly a secret that Kickstarter has been behind some malevolent developers who blatantly just want to take people's money without delivering a product. And sometimes it's just down to sheer incompetence.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment,
resulted in some people losing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. But despite all this, people put a lot of faith into Kickstarter MMOs because it is something different. It isn't your typical AAA MMO with over-the-top monetization. And over the years, there has been very few success stories. But nonetheless, there has been success stories, giving hope to the whole idea of kickstarting a massively multiplayer online game. Which brings us to the subject of today's video. The game in question managed to secure $74,000 even though it only needed 20, and this was backed by 1,318 people. At the time of recording this video, this game is available to play in early access on Steam, and overall is rated very positively. And what's the name of this title, you might be wondering? Well, it is of course Project Gorgon. The game officially released on Steam back in March 2018 and was founded by Eric Heimberg and his wife Sandra Powers, who have experience working with big titles such as Asheron's Call and EverQuest. The game aims to give you a immersive MMORPG experience whilst also not holding your hand from start to finish. And despite a heap load of positive reviews when it comes to the actual player numbers, it's not looking too great.
Help!
But it is on the up.
Help!
So if you like watching videos about games that are dead and irrelevant, or simply hidden gems, then you might also like my YouTube channel, where I've made it my main goal to keep putting out videos despite no one watching them. Like and subscribe, and on that note, join me as I adventure into the world of Project Gorgon and find out if it's truly worth playing in 2025. We begin our journey in the usual spot, which is of course the character creator screen. And it is worth mentioning once again, this game is in early access, so it's not as in-depth as you might want it to be. There are limited options when it comes to customization, with some races being more locked down than others. Which also brings us to another point, which is that not all races are available right now. We're on a ferry? Can't. It's locked. Same as the Orc, same as the Dwarf. So, Dwarf's coming eventually. Orc's coming soonish. And you can get a ferry by unlocking a quest. There is a bit of lore here. Not sure if anyone cares. Rakasha originally came from another world where they were fierce and immoral warriors, but since becoming stranded on this world, new generations of Rakasha have developed a sense of moral and righteousness. Cool, man, I'm an alien. We'll go with that. You do have cat girls. Kind of cute. I mean, if I saw her in VR chat, probably say hello. Oh, hi there. But I think we'll go. We're gonna go to a ferry. Oh. Oh. Oh, we have a purple cat. Let's go. Sold? Sold on the cat. Oh, character name. Blop. Blop, blop. I'll never join you. There we go. Got to do my own cutscenes here. We'll see. Finish his mind wipe and prepare him for transit. Blop will be my pet project from now on. Hire me. I'm available for voice acting. So once you do create your character, you are teleported to essentially a tutorial island, and there's a few things that stand out straight from the start. Firstly, yes, it is indeed using a Unity engine and not the latest one. The UI has a very simple aesthetic to it. Maybe it's a little bit big for my liking, but that can be adjusted. And lastly, why does this place remind me of Morrowind? But anyway, we kick it off by collecting a backpack which is washed up on the shore, and I'm told to eat some food and equip a sword. Sounds like a regular night at the Sawman residence. I was then introduced to the game's combat, which is sort of like a tab targeting for action combat. Obviously at the start I only had one skill to use, but later on it does get a bit more complex. But essentially there's no like lock on, you can freely use your moves, there's no light or heavy attacks. You are also limited to 10 skills, and believe me, there's a lot more than 10 skills in this game. Enemies also have this purple rage bar that once built up allows them to unleash a special attack. You can, however, decrease this rage bar by using particular moves or by doing the obvious, which is killing them. I was then introduced to the questing system, which quite honestly had a old school feel about it. The questing doesn't hold your hand, it tells you to go do something, you add it to your journal, and that's about it. There are no markers on the map, you have to go and figure it out. Once again, this game was just radiating Morrowind vibes. I mean, let's be honest here, I'm the Wish version of a Khajiit, and I'm speaking to practically Dark Elves, but they're not Dark Elves. Which, by the way, isn't a bad thing, because Morrowind is a really good RPG.
And here it is, guys. Morrowind. I mean, Gorgon.
I don't actually know what this place is called. After speaking to other Dark Elves, he basically told me he could teleport me off the island if I find him a particular crystal. So, I went exploring the island, completed some quests, completed some puzzles, and overall was actually having a good time. It didn't feel like a tutorial. I eventually stumbled upon a secret lab where there were a few more secrets to be found, and the game started to open up a bit more.
Give us music. Oh.
Okay. I think one's broken. So what makes this lab so interesting is that it has a few secrets and puzzles that you can solve, but also the fact that it's a optional quest. You don't actually have to go into this area, it's just an addition to the tutorial, which makes it even more intriguing. At this point, I was pretty much convinced there was a big puzzle to solve in that first room. Spoiler alert, there wasn't.
You need to put something on the pedestal? Should I just tame a rat? Should I be like, hey rat, come with me.
You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later.
Also, I forgot to mention, at some point I learned to tame rats.
Now I have the rat. Maybe it'll do something.
The rat did nothing.
Okay. Come with me, rat. Squeakers, come on.
You have a special intuition about supernatural dangers. You can tell when a nearby creature can inflict terrible curses on you. These curses are often much worse than a mere death. It's really dumb to ignore this danger.
Do I ignore the in-game hint which just basically told me I should turn back or I'd die? Fuck off. Run? What was that? What the fuck? Just to be perfectly clear, if you go into the next room alone, you're likely to end up cursed, which is worse than death.
Listen, my mum don't raise a pussy, alright? Let's be clear.
Wait, is that the boss? Oh, fuck. Ah! Get him, Squeakers! Attack! Full force! I'll tank, you do damage. Get the bobble-headed thing. Fuck you and your ward-ins. Do you know who I am? I am man of Saw. Go, Squeakers! Oh, this rat is... Got him. You are fucked, my friend. Go, rats. You have this. Use them. Use your powers. Is this game made for babies? Alright, that was easy. Look at this. Look at this. It's like, oh, you're gonna die. Just solo the game. Easy. Easy mode. As always, I was humble in victory, but it's worth noting this is just a tutorial boss. It's not actually supposed to be end game. What was interesting though was that the boss put a curse on me that inflated my head. Yes, I'm hearing the irony now, which meant I had to re-equip my helm and it was missing for that fight. It's details like this which make the game that much more immersive and special. Anyway, I needed to get past this red door and I was convinced that the golems in the first room had the answer, which is when I actually encountered my first player of the game. I'm not going to burn this. Hi?
Oh, hi, Mark.
Are you an NPC? I think this is the first player I've encountered. Hello? I was actually kind of shocked that they spoke back to me, not because I was talking out my arse, just because this game feels very much like a solo adventure. But I guess this is the upside of a small community. When you do see another player, you take every chance you get to make a conversation. I actually had everything that I needed to teleport the island, but because of the puzzle in the secret lab, I declined it and I thought, no, I want to find out what the secrets are, and I headed straight back in. I might have looked a little bit too deep inside these puzzles, because when I deciphered this code, it wasn't anything great. OFA, let's take OFA. I think OTHA is always wrong. So OTHA is always wrong, but I'm making it more cryptic this way. OTHA. This one's very simple. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! That the golems are not the puzzle. Huh? Hello? What is the password? I cannot not tell anyone. Okay, well, what we discovered from that was that he can't tell us the password, and that was a complete waste of time, but hey. I bumped into another player who was at the same point as me, which was they were trying to get through the red door, and together we solved the puzzle. I swear, it just said I couldn't go through, unless I don't click on it. It turns out to get past this door, you just had to answer a riddle, which I completely missed the first time around. But I'd convinced my friend here that I knew the answer and I could tell him if he needed help. Yeah, what? That's not good. No! I need water. Same. Shit! I'm on fire. 17? I'm just thinking about the number of faces I'm not related, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, same. I like this guy. How's it 37? I was just testing you. Well done. It turns out Tubulis here isn't actually a new player. They have 4,000 hours under their belt, which to be honest, I kind of suspected anyway. I mean, my armor is poo brown and his is bright green. I persevered on my own going through this lab, but I did keep running into Tubulis and we kept chatting, and they did their best to assist me when they could. Overall though, it took me about 2 hours to get out Tutorial Island, and if you actually want to go back and watch that, I do have it on my channel under my live streams, so feel free to go back and watch the whole painful experience. But I digress. The lab led to a secret cave, and in the cave it was filled with spiders, and most importantly, an exit. So as I said, after 2.5 hours, the tutorial was finally coming to an end. Ooh. Oh my god! What is this horrible looking thing? But in conclusion, tutorial finished, I found the secret escape route, and I was now left to my own devices in the wild to figure out what this game has to offer. And oh boy, there was a lot. What I love about Project Gorgon is that it gives you a lot of freedom to just go travel and explore. And what I mean by this is, for instance, there's no maximum amount of quests that you can pick up. You don't have to worry about your quest journal maxing out, which means you can go to as many areas as you want, overload yourself with quests,
and just go through them whenever you feel like it, without the fear of having to abandon them. And here's the thing, Project Gorgon is a large game. The world map is absolutely huge. It is, however, broken down into different sections with a load screen between each biome. On top of that, you also have underwater areas that you can explore, as well as several dungeons. So what I'm trying to tell you is, this game is absolutely massive. There is indeed a in-depth wiki, but I decided to see if I could figure out most of the stuff by myself, or simply by asking strangers. Luckily for me, it seems to have one of the most friendliest communities I've ever come across. Now, given that I just completed Tutorial Island, I was interested in finding a large player hub. So this random player, I asked them for directions, and sure enough, they gave me directions as to where I needed to go. I mean, they literally led me there. Maybe this says more about me as a person than it does everyone else, but I can't remember the last time I showed another player how to get to somewhere. But anyway, I was excited to see what a town looks like and how busy it was, if at all. Whilst making my way to town, I ran into a few interesting sights, which are kind of hard to explain, but understand this. Yes, there are limited races that you can choose from, but you do have the ability to morph into different animals and other stuff. Seriously, why the fuck has this spider got wheels? I honestly didn't understand. At first, I thought it was a mount. Maybe it's like a disabled spider or something. But honestly, I think this is what the person actually looks like. I went through the main entrance of the castle and was greeted by a bunch of player stalls. I guess this answers the question as to how does the economy work. FYI, I can afford a single thing. I headed into the courtyard, which is where all the basic amenities were. There were a variety of different shops, there was a tavern, and most importantly, there was a bank so I can store my items. And believe me, I had collected quite a lot of items. The fact that I'm a bit of a loot goblin and I like to pick up anything and everything worked in my favour, as I had somehow managed to pick up enough pieces of armour to have some okay stats. From my understanding, the way the leveling works in this game is that it's purely skill based and not based on overall stats. And there are a lot of skills you can unlock and level up. For me though, I tried to stick to sword and shield, mainly because I'd already done a lot of leveling already and I didn't want to start again. So with my armour equipped and my skills all set, I went around town pestering everyone for quests and then went on an adventure. So is it a MMO or a RPG? And I know what you're thinking, why can't it be both? We could even create a new acronym and call it a MMORPG. Genius, I know.
It's just dumb.
Obviously I'm kidding, but the reason I do ask this question is just because how good of an RPG it actually is. It's the first time in a long time I've played a MMO and actually enjoyed the questing. Sure, there were kill quests and fetch quests, but it didn't hold your hand, it just let you go and do it. And the dialogue was actually really funny and quite adult. Perverted elven magicians making some sort of sex deal for longer dicks. That's what I heard. Your beauty has captivated my soul. That is pathetic and creepy, get out of here. I didn't feel like I was being talked down to when given a quest to do, unless they were on purposely doing it. And not only that, the skill system was just so vast. Honestly, some of these skills were just so random. But it's not like they send you down one profession or one path, because more times than not, you'll run into an item or a weapon that you want to use, but you also need skills in something else in order to be able to use it. And I liked that because it gave me a lot of variety and made me feel like I was constantly working towards something. And the combat, it wasn't some stale tab targeting combat, it was a bit more dynamic, and dare I say, skillful. But despite everything I just said, they really did deter you from trying to solo this game. Because there were so many skills, it made you reach out to other players if you needed something crafting or needed help with something. In some areas, you could have 3 or 4 mobs aggro you, and all of a sudden, it was the fight of your life. And then you had bosses which were quite difficult to solo, and you could see how the benefit of the Holy Trinity, a healer, a tank, a DPS would help in the situation. And the game actively tries and gets you to participate in the economy by making you trade with other players. And they do this by having shopkeepers have a limited amount of funds which only reset after a certain amount of time, which I actually think is a really great idea. And then it had your typical MMO stuff like guilds, daily quests, and even community stuff like raffles and prizes. I assume people were giving out prizes because someone left this potion on this roof and it was quite the jump puzzle. And just overall, the community had a big MMO vibe about it, and you even had players who just clearly wanted to RP and do their own thing. Is this guy role-playing as a deer? Are you a deer for life?
No, yes.
Like, all the time?
All the time. Dear Nana best life.
Have you been involved in a hunting accident?
I try not being an apex predator around these parts.
What do deers eat?
Nah. Everything but I like. Nah. Hash browns.
Anyway, good day to you. Even the bank in town, it was a community bank, which meant players could pay towards the whole community having more slots. But as I said earlier, they do the little things really well, including small details and immersion. I like the fact that I had to tame my own horse, and I could even turn myself into a pig if I really wanted to. I've got over 20 hours in the game now, and I have to say, it's probably one of the best MMORPGs I've played in the last couple of years. Which begs the question, why aren't more people playing this title? So let's take a deeper dive and see if we can figure it out. So just to clarify, I think Project Gorgon does a lot of things really well. However, certain aspects of the game might just not be that appealing to a wider audience. I think one of the biggest issues though is the way it advertises itself. It comes across as a classic MMO like EverQuest and Asheron's cool, but quite honestly it feels more modern than that. Another thing that doesn't help is that the graphics are quite dated. It is an old Unity engine, and there are certain parts of the world which can feel a bit empty and devoid of life. But then again, people like RuneScape. KickStarter MMOs in general always have like a air of caution around them. People always think there's just some way they're trying to grab your money. But this game, there are no microtransactions, there is no pay to win. Sure, you have VIP access, but that's merely there to help support the actual developers, who by the way have had quite a rough time when it's come to producing this game. For starters, Sandra Powers was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer back in 2021. So let's be honest, COVID's still going on, your wife's just been diagnosed with cancer. The last thing you're going to really care about is developing a game. But that's the funny thing, they still poured their heart and soul into this title. And sadly, we were given the news that Sandra passed away this year, back in January. And even with that loss, Eric still went out his way to get the latest patch out. So to say this game's had a rocky history would be an understatement. But the fact is, it is an enjoyable title. It is a really good MMORPG. It just seems to lack the appropriate sort of exposure that it deserves. Funny thing is, Moist Critical actually played this title 6 months ago, and he seemed to enjoy it.
You guys ready for a little Project Gorgon?
Yeah, you excited?
Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so you guys are gonna have to hold my hand through this.
A few moments later.
Well, that was fun.
That was actually pretty fun.
That turned out to be more fun than I thought we were going to have.
So what is the problem with Project Gorgon? Well, simply, not enough people have heard of it, or are even playing it. It's been through development hell, and if it wasn't for their loyal and dedicated community, this game might not be around today. I didn't want to leave this video on a depressing note, so I'm not going to. Let's be positive. Project Gorgon is a great indie MMO title. It's super immersive, it's super addictive, and better still, you can try before you buy because they have a free demo on Steam. Personally, I'm going to carry on playing this game in the background. I might stream it once or twice, but would I be making full-time content for it? Sadly not. Unfortunately, my channel is based around playing as much variety as possible and not just sticking to one dead game. I already did that once with the Elder Scrolls Online, and that was fucking tragic. So if you are looking for an indie MMO, which is a Kickstarter and not actually a scam, then I highly suggest you pick up Project Gorgon. And on that bombshell, I'm going to end the video there. As always, a massive thank you if you got this far in the video. If you want to show your appreciation, then leave a like. And of course, if you want to see more of my content, feel free to subscribe. It costs nothing and it inflates my ego. And hell, you got this far in the video, why haven't you subscribed already? I'll leave a couple of previous reviews on the screen for you now, which you might enjoy. And a big shout out to my patrons and YouTube members for helping me afford to play all these games. But anyway, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.